Hello and welcome to Nihongo Portal. I'm your host David.
And I'm Akira. Wait, what?
I thought we just went over this.
Brain. Holy fuck.
You know what? Let's fucking go with this. Just
Okay, well, I'm Akira.
I'm Donovan.
And this week's topic is tropes in anime. So, we've watched quite a bit of anime, and I think, like, we have a broad understanding of, like, how shit will go down. Like, the ending music plays, and the hero
Inspirational
starts his comeback
speech.
scene.
The
Cue
opening is
music.
like hard rock, and then the ending is like the most depressing fucking song.
Exactly. So, let's bring together some anime tropes that we particularly like, and some tropes that we particularly dislike.
Alright. Anyone has one that they could just go off their head then?
I've been watching.
Ha! You used your special ability, but I also have a special ability that counters your special ability.
That. Okay.
You know,
Power creep.
Okay, in fact, that could be boiled down to when a character dies but doesn't really die.
When they're the protagonist, so you know they'll survive?
Yeah. Or when a villain
Yeah. I wonder
if
like
there's
3
a-
episodes into a 24 episode anime, it's just like, oh, okay, that's it.
What does that? Like, I feel like I've just recently watched something that did that.
Where the protagonist dies, but you know they don't die because
Yeah.
there's no way they die.
I mean, Attack on Titan is a good example, but that was to actually push the plot.
Recent shows.
I guess.
I mean, Kaminoto, God of Tower of God.
Mhm.
The season finale is like, oh, he dies, but then right, like at the end of this episode, we see him not being dead.
Yep,
Mhm.
that's the ending
Oh.
that I heard a lot of people were kind
Oh.
of talking about.
So it's kind of like Batman, no, The Dark Knight Rises, huh?
Yeah.
Fucking Batman
A
dies,
certain
but
magical
not really.
Index. Certain magical index. Toma disappeared under the Arctic Ocean. Except we see him get picked up, and those are just the things that have been like confirmed. There's probably a lot of running series that maybe in the manga that we know they're survived, but they're killed off. So on and so forth. Okay, here's the question, but do you like it though?
If it's the main character that dies, then you know for a fact that he's not gonna die, so it kind of like softens a blow. But like if it's
There's ways to do it well,
yeah,
and most of the time it's done horribly.
I feel like I don't have like a actual title in my head right now, but like if it's done like say like a side character that's been with you for so long, you know, sacrifice himself to like, you know, let the party go free or something. He comes back later on, maybe evil or not. But I feel like I don't mind that too much. Where like he just kind of comes back later down the line, and you know he's more powerful than ever. He's also probably missing an arm or something, but.
Yeah. Question. Akamega Kill, did you like it for the killing off the characters, or did you dislike it?
Unfortunately, I haven't watched it.
As the anime goes, no, it was you only get to, the thing is that Akame ga Kill's pacing wasn't very good because the characters that died, like, you don't actually get to know them until like for maybe one episode, and then they die immediately after.
Right. Whereas in the manga, there's like a little bit of.
I mean, in the manga,
like,
most
in
of the
between
characters are
time.
still alive. That's the difference.
I feel like a lot of like anime that tries to be all serious and shit in in Japan, anime is in Japanese, but it has this trope of like killing off character as a story motivation, not as a character motivation. So it just kind of plays out really bland, and it's not really like good because like the Godzilla animation movie did that with the main character for no like it wasn't even like a story advancement thing. Like it was a 3-part movie, and in the third part they end the movie literally with, oh, we can't kill Godzilla, we have to live with him forever now. And then they go on to the end credit rolls, and it's a whole scene of like how so to begin with, it's the humans moved out from space, and then their hyperdrive works in this weird way that time runs faster, I guess, while they were in space. So when they come back, it's been like tens and thousands of years on Earth. But for the main character, it's only been like 10 or 20 years. I forgot which year was it. But so basically, he comes back to this all ruined Earth where it's ruled by Godzilla. And then in the last movie, it's like, oh yeah, we can't kill him, so we have to live in harmony with the people that kind of was left behind, that evolved into the next human being, I guess. And they have this like, you know, whole scene with the ending of them living happily ever after. And then the fucking ending credit stops, and then the main character gets on a ship and fucking kamikazes his ass into Godzilla, and nothing really happens.
Oh my god.
Like, what was that scene for? Like, that movie was shit to begin with, but you could have just left out the last scene and it would have made no difference, you know?
That's fair.
Fun fact, it was written by the guy that wrote Fate Zero and
Oh yeah, again,
Magi.
Urobuchi.
yeah, I don't like his writing at all.
Urobuchi.
Pretty bad.
I guess it's more like
Fate
a
Zero
appeal to
was okay.
maturity.
Like, I liked Fate Zero. I only watched like up to maybe like a quarter way. I haven't finished it yet, but yeah, it's like it works in like that. I guess it works for that kind of shit, like Fate Zero and like where, you know, sacrifice your whole story motivation is to kill other characters, I guess, if that makes sense. You know, it's a battle
This was never an
royale,
option.
Oh yeah.
so you have
yeah,
to kill
yeah,
other people.
The characters are legitimately tied to killing.
But in that movie, it was straight up established that Godzilla cannot be killed. Yet, as like a last resort thing, he just, you know, kills himself. I
Nice.
mean, where the fuck did that come from?
Throw yourself at God.
And here's the
Just
funny
for the
part
fuck of
too.
it.
Like, I'm going kind of off tangent with the anime thing, but like there was an interview with the two other writers that was like a huge Godzilla fans, and they were complaining about how Murobuchi just fucked everything over.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's just bad. So after that, I just kind of didn't like his writing,
That's right.
or like I just have a bias against his writing, I guess, because I still
I guess
enjoyed
that's
Fate
fair.
Zero. What is another
Yeah.
trope you could think of?
let's see. You know
well, actually,
how
I just wanted to bring
Oh.
up one that I liked.
Yeah.
Because in Full Metal Panic,
Does-
I don't think you've, and either of you watched it, right?
no,
Okay, is it okay if I spoil it something?
I guess go ahead.
So one of the major characters, Weber, the sniper character that's basically the main character's only friend, is killed in a sniper battle against his master, and later revealed to be alive. But I believe that killing was like masterfully done, because not only was it possible for him to die, it was likely, the motivation was there, and it was like the only solution to get out of the pinch was to leave Weber behind. But when they brought him back, it also felt natural, because yeah, no shit, they're gonna come back for their men, and of course they're gonna have like high state of the art medicine. If they didn't, then what's the fucking like the it's kind of, so it was when that happened, when they revealed that he was alive after all this time, I genuinely cried out of happiness.
Okay.
And like, if you
Okay, in that case, it sounds like it's done well if there's reason
Yes.
for them to die or reason for them to come back.
yeah, so that this just is like a point out that this trope can be good, but
Oh yeah, no,
we
definitely.
kind of don't like it.
It's just overdone to a point where it's just a thing where you
A
kind of
punchline.
like it's
I mean,
just there
all
to
tropes
satisfy.
can be done well. That it's when
Yeah.
it's that they're what makes a trope is that it's done so commonly that it makes it's very obvious when a trope is done well and when a trope is done poorly. Like fucking
It's plot progression.
like a big thing in anime in general, but this might just be tied to the medium, that the fact that it is animated is for shonen series like power scaling. So it's like characters can be super powerful, but you don't actually know how powerful they are, because the show doesn't really do a good job of quantifying how much damage they could deal if they wanted to. So then when it has poor power scaling like that, you have characters that seem extremely powerful, but then they just get trumped by something super trivial, and you're just like, wait, are they doing this for a comedic reason, or is it just terrible writing?
It's like in a long-running shonen type manga where it's like in the beginning you have this really really strong enemy that's like said to be the strongest in the world. He's such a bad person, but it's in the beginning. So if you have like a book that goes on for like 60 something chapters, and you're doing it in the first 10 books, you realize that by the time like you're even halfway through the story, that guy was like really really weak, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that a lot of anime falls into is power scaling, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Even like
Then-
Japanese Kamen Rider and stuff too. It's like you because you have to introduce a power up midway, or even in games, I guess. But if you just put it this way, it's like game level progression. It's like in the first level, if you fight the boss, you know, it's a little bit hard, or at least evenly matched. But if you go back after you finish the game to the first boss, you know, it's obviously gonna be like
Just
super
like
easy.
Sekiro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, even thinking of the future, though, it's very hard to predict where the story will go. Like, I like to bring up Hunter x Hunter because in the beginning, it's clear that the author wanted his character to use a fishing pole, but then proceeds to never use a fishing pole except for like once in battle. And, you know, it's
I'm like, I
still a
have
great
no clue with
series,
Hunter x Hunter,
but
so you
yeah.
just bring up fishing pole, just making me super confused. I was like,
Right?
why the fuck are they fishing pole?
If you look at Gon's like art, well, if you look at Gon in the beginning, he always carries around a fishing pole because his first introduction to the whole series is him fishing the lord of the pond where he lives, this like 3 meter long fish, literally impossible if you don't have like a machine or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're, you know, god level anime character. And then we all see, oh yeah, every tool they have is like a technical thing. Gon's gonna be the fisher guy. And not really. It probably, that's just how it is.
Yeah,
And
like
it's still a great show.
like I think I don't know specifically which story comes into mind, but I'm definitely sure that exists in a lot of manga in anime. So
Yeah.
like you read through the whole thing and you go back in the beginning, and you're like, huh, I remember that was a fucking setting. I forgot about that. There's a lot of things that they can't. They would try to cram in so much thing into one single character and not be able to like pick it up, I guess, down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, what was it? I don't know. Like it's not nothing that will actually affect the story, but I guess the fishing thing is one. But like, I don't know. Maybe like say in Fairy Tail, Natsu not being able to ride actual vehicles is another one that kind of like it kind of does stick around, but it also does like
It's like
really,
a running gag.
yeah, it really doesn't do anything to the story. So like in the very last part, like last 10 or 20 books, I think it was never really present. But I think some of the books that actually does a really good thing with power, what do you call it, power management, I guess, is definitely the Full Metal Alchemist, though, going back to the story, because they never really have to like power themselves up. They just have to like use their like any
Abilities
story, I guess,
creatively.
yeah, be creative with their abilities and like being able to get out of a pinch because, you know, so and so happened beforehand, and you're like, oh shit, we could use this into this situation we're stuck in right now. And I think another one that does it really good is you know how I was talking about Kamen Rider, and it keeps on introducing a power up item to like counteract the new guys, but one of the earlier ones, Kamen Rider Double, actually did a really good job with that because
Double.
I
remember that.
yeah,
That's
it's just
baby.
like as much as it introduces, you know, power up items, the whole thing about those two duels was they had their strength with each other. So in Kamen Rider Double, 2-person transformed into one being and whatever, but like, you know, it's the strength that they have each other allows it so that they don't necessarily have to use this power up item all the time unless it's like actually the enemy is like on a cheating level strength. Then they'll use it, but like in the next episode, they'll probably beat another enemy in their basic form because they're able to like, you know, outwit them or something like that. Because it was one long story instead of it being like a chopped up story, so it wasn't hard to do that too. I think a lot of story suffers from that when it's like when there's just too many arcs. Like it's not one over long overlonging. I don't know if that's the right word, but if
Well,
it's
yeah,
just like
one continuous.
one
epic.
continuous arc with several side stories, would be able to manage their like power levels a lot better than stuff like Fairy Tail, where it's like 2-3 books in, it's a new story, kind of like that. So like Attack on Titan, I guess, does a very good job with that too, because you don't really have a new power up. Not like you have new gears and shit because time progresses and technology progresses and shit, but you don't necessarily have. Oh yeah, Eren can just breathe fire now, and he could like that kind of shit basically.
I'm thinking of tropes that are very common in anime, but it's like something that isn't just super general that you could apply to basically any writing. So
like all literature.
Yeah.
Well,
The red-haired
about-
girl is Tsundere, the white-haired girl.
no,
white cis blue
overpowered
haired girl is
transfer student. The protagonist's parents are always fucking dead or some shit. What else?
how about a like romance? Like
your sister turns out to be your stepsister.
Oh yeah,
That's
right.
the one. What?
Sibling
Oh, yeah.
relationships.
it's never incest. It's always technical.
It's
Also,
implied.
It's really
Yes.
creepy.
If the protagonist confesses, there's a 0% chance she'll reject unless it's the starting like.
Well, let's put it
tells
this
the
way: if
story.
the sister isn't the first girl introduced, she's got no chance.
It wasn't fully
Well-
romance, but fucking Maid Dragon. I think it did a really good job with like
Maid
having love as a core aspect of the story without it being like blatant. Oh yeah, this is about LGBT and such. It wasn't the one long good story where it was implied that they kind of like each other, but like it was still like contained within the story arc where it wasn't forced down your throat and something like that. So it wasn't necessarily
Well, it
conventional.
felt more natural.
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Like,
It was really natural, and it was like it's just a enjoyable love comedy with a
A lot of the
dragon.
romance that's done is based off of like poor romantic like knowledge or experience.
Yeah,
Like a lot of the teenage romance, it's immediate confession, immediate love.
it's like
then
it's
so on
implied.
and so
Like
forth.
the problem I think with any love, including Maid Dragons, is just like one. It already starts off with one liking another, so like it just kind of like makes it hard for
Conflict less.
yeah, or like it's just it's just implied that the main character will always get it. So like there's a story I think where the main okay, it's Harry Potter.
Hold on, what?
I was talking about the main hero and it doesn't end up with the main character. I was like, oh wait, it's Harry Potter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but hold up. Going back a little to like good romance. One of my favorites is Hallelujah Overdrive, which is extremely minor, and it's a band story. A guy who's very good at singing and playing the guitar tries to confess to the drummer girl, but she only loves drumming. And it's like a one-sided love unrequited story, and then like second love interest. It's very good in the sense that it's not cookie cutter romance crap, but it's also like very tropey, very it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it rides very smooth.
I think in that
And-
line, some people might roll their eyes, but I'd really like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
Even though
Man,
it's not Japanese or anything, but like it's
Oh,
I think it
Scott-
I think it depicts romance in like more of a natural way where in the beginning Scott is going out with one girl and they break up for another. That shit happens, and throughout they're kind of going out, but at the same time in the end, like depending on which story you read, they either break up or go their separate path or they stay together. So in that kind of sense,
Yeah, the thing with Scott Pilgrim is that both characters they reciprocate each other really well. It's like
yeah.
you can it's like you can definitely tell not one character in that relationship is carrying the relationship.
It's not about even though it's called Scott Pilgrim, it's not really about only him, I guess. It's
Yeah.
about like everyone else around him.
Yes, you've got a
How,
very
like, it
strong
just-
female
yeah.
lead.
It's an adult relationship.
Yeah.
And
It's
like-
a adult relationship story, but it's like depicted in they're like in their 20s, right? I think
I would
at least.
assume so.
Yeah, 20.
So-
He's 21 and he dates like a 17 or 18-year-old, a minor.
What?
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
Asian
first
girl.
girl that he dates. Yeah, it's still controversial, but at the same time, you
it's
have to like.
realistic though.
Yeah, that's how life is
Yep.
sometimes, and
That's what I need. More dojins of realistic relationships.
You just
hand
open a
holding and
page.
hugging.
You just open a page and then, like it's just a scenery in like a cafe where both of them on their phone. It's like and that's it.
Yep, that's what I need.
I wouldn't mind it actually.
Oh my
What?
god.
I wouldn't mind that
Oh.
kind of like super real, like just-
Super realistic
normal-
dojin. Yeah.
yeah,
Let's see.
not as in like the art style, but just like the
Super
scenarios.
realistic dojin.
What's
It's
another
like,
very,
tropey.
very
what's a trope heavy ass, if anything, like not in like what do you call it? Not making fun of it, but like unironically tropey.
basically any
Okay.
harem anime?
Can I say something controversial?
What?
Yeah.
Kimetsu no Yaiba was extremely tropey as a shonen anime.
Well, I mean that's why it did good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
not a
like
bad thing.
enjoyable,
Naruto.
yeah.
Like the power creep we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He starts off with the Mizunokokyu water stance, and then like two
And
stories in, he
let me
changes
guess.
it,
Some point in
so-
the story, he's almost defeated, and then he unlocks another form, and then he fucking beats the villain with it.
the spider enemy, he literally is on death's door, but then he like remembers his nose is good, and then smells the air and like finds the weak point.
Oh, I forgot my
don't-
nose is
What
good.
the fuck?
It's like Spider-Man saying, "Oh shit, I have spider sense. Why am I even fighting this?"
Spider-Man is like, oh wait, I have eyes, I can use them.
No, but like Tanjiro's main character trait was that he can smell
Yeah, like
unhumanly
I
good.
read like the first 3 or 5 books, but like as
Yeah.
much as I was like, yeah, this is kind of good. I had no interest in reading the rest.
I still haven't watched it, but I probably will, and then I probably will enjoy it even with the
like the
tropes.
opening's cool though.
I finished it and it finished very good. Let's just say that.
I mean,
Like
I think
happy
the one thing they did definitely right is that they kept it short and simple. Like they didn't just
Yeah.
drag on, because it's like it finished in like 20 something chapters. Less than that.
yeah, it
Or
was
books.
going to be like the next One Piece, but instead
Yeah.
of going the One Piece route, they just chose to, tell a complete, concise story. And the world is rid of evil and everything is good. Thank you.
As much as like
Makes
having
sense.
a long running,
That's a good idea.
long running, manga anime is good, like because even for me, if I want to follow a new, I guess, fandom, I don't know, for lack of a better word, if it ended in like 5 books and then like it's been over for like 5 years, you're not gonna find anything new about it. So like being able to just follow it through like maybe 5 to 10 years is a kind of a good thing in a way. You might like having one of that is good.
Meanwhile,
And-
Fate fandom.
No, I actually think it might be biased, but Fate does it well where like it has one, universe where everything kind of collides, the Grand Order universe, and they have the Fate Stay Night movies,
Yep.
which is already like 3 different, universe. So you have 3
Yeah, no, but the
separate
idea was
people.
that,
Then you
like,
have Apocrypha,
the
and you
idea
have
was
Zero.
that like Fate just keeps coming out with content, and for the most part, it's
Yeah.
actually good.
Yeah, so like it's really easy to follow as a new person and like get into, and then kind of regret it because you're spending so much money now.
Yeah.
You learn Fate Stay Night. You watch Unlimited Blade Works. You watch Fate Zero. You get into Grand Order, and then all of a sudden your house is just full of Saber posters.
You didn't even buy them; they just appeared.
Yeah.
one
Like
day.
I'm not even like Saber. I like Saber as a character, but I'm not like super pushing Saber or anything. But I have the Zero and the Saber Figma for some reason. It's like, and then it's like,
Were they on sale?
I got the normal, like the first Figma one that they came out with for like $10 loose without no. It came with everything but the box, and I got the Zero figure for like $40 because it was in the back shelf and no one really knew it was there, and it was $40. I was like, oh, you might as well pick it up because I kind of like the suit.
That explains
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then I guess I have 2 John Dark figures, and then all the Mordred figures coming out this year, and I was like, fuck, I need to get them.
Yeah, as long
yeah.
as the fandom keeps giving Type Moon money, they'll keep giving us shit to buy.
So it's definitely one of those things where it's like it's not, One Piece where it's kind of hard to follow though.
Well,
because
One
it's
Piece
one
is a
long
single timeline, but has a plot that has expanded to several different subsections that you kind of forget what was the original intent. And even if
I've
I know
watched
there's more than 1,000 characters.
even if the
really,
no
following
even
their
if the if the original plot still exists within the setting.
Oh, okay. I'm fair, more or less like following the story,
Mhm.
and the plot hasn't changed. It's like
It's still Luffy wants to
always
become
one
king
relevant.
of the pirates, but
He just keeps on helping establish coups and revolutions in countries he
So-
should just not be stopping in.
Yeah.
It's like playing
That's
The Witcher 3, but you're like, shit, there's another side quest. Let me just do that.
You must save the peasants.
Exactly.
300 hours in. Shit, there's another side quest. Let me just do that.
Yeah, that's the thing, because that's the issue with making such a long running series. It's that you have to
It just
make
goes on
some.
and on.
It's that as a writer or an author, you just have to make. Or you have to. I'm not gonna say you have to, but you have to try to at least make something new that doesn't contradict what you've already written. And the more you write, the harder it is to make something that doesn't contradict what you've already written.
But to be
That
fair,
said,
from
though-
like what I hear about One Piece is that they do a really good job with like character management, at least the main characters,
Yes.
where like a lot of the side stories are like they involve something with the main character. Or,
But
Yeah, and
then
also
they're
the
short,
core
and then
character designs are
once they
great.
end, the side characters within that respective story are forgotten about.
No, they do a good job of like re-involving old characters. Like,
Is that so?
well, yeah. So like, there's Jinbei, the newest addition to the Luffy crew.
I actually didn't know
He
that.
came out like almost a throwaway character, but they used him and they kept him. And like the new characters that come out all look memorable. Sure, they have the notable One Piece female body or like the guy body.
Nice.
but
Fucking Nami, when she started
Yeah.
out and now like look how much she's grown, quote unquote
yeah,
grown.
It's really hard to like criticize that though, because like he's just trying to make the characters interesting to draw and fun, and I love it for that. Like, keep giving me new characters that look horribly like have you seen the guys where they're like 12 feet tall but have a beer gut that extends more than like their entire
I mean,
body.
One Piece characters are just ridiculous to begin with.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It fits the story. Like I think it fits it really good. Though.
It fits the story, but then it's just it was all back to anime tropes again in regards to power. It's just like, how strong are One Piece characters really? Because they
Dude
do
can
some
literally
really
move at the speed
ridiculous
of
shit,
light.
but fundamentally they're just people.
Yeah. How can the enemy that moves at the speed of light not literally go around and take out everyone?
How can Zoro cut a mountain in half? How is that physically possible with even... It doesn't matter if he uses 3 katanas and like several combinations of observation haki. The point is, how much power do you have to output to cut a mountain in half?
And if he can do that, then why does he still struggle with enemies?
If he can
Just
do
fucking
that,
cut
why
the
does he
whole
get
continent in
hurt
half.
at all? Like, with that much power, he could swing in the general direction of his enemies, and they would be absolutely annihilated, like a fucking earthquake from 2012 just split the army in
Fucking-
half.
Well, Don, you haven't thought of the haki, the new ability that makes people harder than steel,
Yeah.
The
which
fucking,
can somehow
like,
stop steel blades. Even though it
rated
can't
R
stop a
One
mountain.
Piece.
Also, can Luffy still swim?
No, like that's a plot point. People with the devil fruit powers cannot swim
What?
in salt water. Salt water saps the powers because the greatest enemy to a pirate is salt water. Makes sense.
Wait, I thought he
fucking
almost drowned
rum.
before he had the fruit, though.
Whenever he did. Oh well, yeah, that was because.
So with that in mind, I just thought, oh, okay, so he has the fucking power to basically punch a castle in half, but I guess the minute he touches water, he just fucking dies.
Only salt water though. He can still take baths and show up in naked scenes.
Yeah,
That's
that
an actual plot
I guess that yeah, I guess that idea though just kind of wait. So
He can swim actually.
Well,
I think
it
in
probably
some-
just began as like, pirates aren't on the sea, but if they can't swim,
yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
funny
exactly.
kind of
It's just
deal,
like it's like how
Yeah.
the fuck are you gonna be king of the pirates if you can't swim?
if you
Well,
know
what
how to
if
swim, you're
just
stronger
plot
than
twist
Luffy.
that like the pirate king treasure is under the sea, so they just can't get to it. They're just like, oh,
Dude, the
I guess
fucking-
we
That-
can't.
That's where Jinbei comes in.
Dude, it's just
Jinbei
like,
is like an underwater person.
he has a fucking fortress on a boat, and then that's gonna be his pirate king throne. But the minute someone just fires a cannonball into the bow, like he's fucked. That's it.
Yeah.
Just get a bucket of salt water and throw it at him. Just get a bunch of water balloons, salt water, start
See,
throwing at
this is-
Luffy.
Yeah, wait, okay,
We were
wait.
making fun of this,
so,
but this is gonna be the next.
so you're
enemy.
telling me for all devil fruit users, if they touch salt water, it's fucking kryptonite to them? What?
Yes, they lose all energy. They become basically.
How the
like,
fuck
useless.
does the story progress if realistically every time they're fighting they're near salt water and no one's just drained of
land
their
on islands.
ability?
Every time they fight on islands, and when salt water shows up, it's like, oh shit, we gotta get away.
Oh my god.
It's. Yeah,
That's
this is why the story keeps on going.
God, it's like imagine watching Superman but Krypton never exploded and the
So he
entire
just-
planet was also kryptonite.
70%,
Jesus
80% of the
Christ.
planet is kryptonite. Our weakness.
Man, they're like completely off topic now. I'm kind of really excited for the Snyder Cut for the Justice League.
Right, that's coming out,
Yeah.
or not coming
Well,
out.
Like I
but,
don't,
like, in
I don't
production
care
now.
if it's good or not. I just want to finish that Zack Snyder's vision of his world because it does sound good. If you don't,
If you just
like,
take
if you're just
away
going
the kind
in,
of awful script writing.
yeah, if you're just going in as a comic book like mindset, not a lot of things needs to make sense.
That yeah,
It's
that's
just plot
that's
moving
the thing.
forward.
I feel like people every time they watch a movie, there should be a something in their head that tells them to either take the movie as from comic book value and then evaluate it like that, or evaluate it as a standalone movie.
Yeah, like if you're going to
They should all
watch,
be watched as
I mean,
standalone
like you
movies.
could watch a movie and then analyze it.
Yeah.
Fuck English, but like there's if you're paying $12 for 2 hours of sitting down and watching a movie, just fucking enjoy it.
It's also
Like-
like if you're watching a movie, let's say let's take the Transformers movie for example. If you're watching a movie
Bumblebee!
if you're watching a Transformers film fully expecting it to be basically just a live action 1-to-1 adaptation of Transformers,
cartoon series.
you would have a better chance spending your $12 on legitimately anything else.
Like
You should've
G1
bought a
cartoon.
Transformer for $25.
There's so many obscure things with the cartoons to start off anyways. I don't understand why fans are like, oh my god, the new movies makes no sense. It's like, dude, the fucking writers of the original cartoon was probably on acid anyways too.
Friendly reminder, there's
What if this car was a robot? Yo.
I'm just being reminded of that one out of context Transformers clip where like Optimus trapped like Starscream or something, and it's just like, fine, a booby trap that actually catches boobies.
Like, no. They have a fucking transformer that turns into a microscope to be able to see smaller things. Like, they're fucking robots. Can't their eyes just magnify shit?
I mean, it also
Zoom and
it also
enhance.
goes to shows like if Transformers can transform into any vehicle they want, why do they choose
Not even
cars
the
most
vehicles.
of the time?
Oh, actually, that's a actual thing where Autobots, or at least in the original thing was like, it was really rare for Autobots to be able to transform into a plane for some reason. So they have this character where it was a triple changer where he could turn it into a plane, but he was scared of heights. So his other form was he could turn into like a air battleship kind of thing.
Let me guess.
But he
when
was
he's-
also
he's-
scared of swimming.
Well, let me guess. He turns into a car, but he has motion sickness.
Like yeah, that was
Monsters
just because it was before they introduced like the jet firing people where they could actually fly. So he was like the only one that was able to fly, but he was scared of heights, and his alt mode was a fucking a ship, but he was also scared of water. So
Oh my fucking
like
god.
you just wasted our fucking time
What a
watching
fucking
this kind of
coward.
deal.
So like in the Michael Bay movies, we see the Transformers turn into like computer laptops, microwaves, and like home appliances. So it basically just means that they can be any kind of machine, and I think that's more fun. Like if you want to make toys of like
No, they had like
then
the first movie when it came
versatility is
out.
better.
They had a whole line of like Decepticons, mostly Decepticons. I think there was some Autobots too, but that turned into like cell phones, cameras, binoculars, which isn't a fucking machine, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, well,
Hold on.
basically,
Now you just
basically
said
the main thing is if you're gonna watch a live action film or an animated adaptation of a piece of media, fully expecting it to just be that piece of media but animated, you're wasting your time. Like that's actually
Just
a waste
enjoy
of
things.
time.
I mean, to be fair, the
Enjoy things and let people
Michael
enjoy
Bay, Michael Bay movies were like kind of bad.
Well,
Anyways,
yeah, well, that's because Michael Bay is notorious for just making movies that get a lot of fucking money, but they're kind of stupid.
apparently,
action.
apparently on set they called all the explosion the Bayham instead of Mayhem.
yeah.
So weird.
And
that
you know what?
reminds me.
I-
It's just
I love the first Transformers.
Yeah, the first one I
I liked
kind
all
of
the
like.
ones
The
that
first
actually
three.
featured Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, the first three
Yeah.
wasn't like as
First
bad.
two.
No, the three.
Yeah, the first three.
Oh, three?
So
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
what
the
was it? It was
first three.
Transformers
Third
one. That
one's
was
kind of-
was it Revenge of the Fallen, and then
One, Revenge of the Fallen, and then the Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, Dark
or
of the
Dark
Moon.
of the Moon. Dark of the
Oh,
Moon.
Dark-
4 was Age of Extinction.
The Last Night. Yeah, Age of Extinction, and then I actually haven't watched The Last Night.
Yeah,
the
I
last
haven't
one that
watched
came
it
out
either.
from Michael Bay.
I stopped
I
at
just
4.
Oh my god. Yeah, the first 3 were actually they could stand on their own as like a little mini trilogy.
Yeah.
They felt fun and genuinely
But
creative.
then
even if they
come
were
4 and 5 it
appealing.
they tried to be the standalone movies, even though they both featured Mark Wahlberg, and why did I think yeah, they both featured Mark
I'd watch a Matt
Wahlberg in
Damon
it.
movie.
So it's just like as standalone
They
movies
just
they're
milked
not
it
they're
too
not
hard.
amazing. You
I mean,
funny
I think Age of Extinction. Personally, what I like about Age of Extinction is the robot designs, but that's pretty much it. Like
Age
they
of Extinction,
introduced,
I love
a G1
love
accurate-
Lockdown so much.
yeah, like they introduced a G1 accurate form for Optimus Prime, and like the toy for it is like super fucking great. And then they also introduced the Dinobots in it, which the toy for that came out is also super fucking great. But that's it. And everything else, it's kind of escapes me. I don't remember the plot or anything.
Man, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that Age of Extinction it kind of was just shit because Lockdown was actually a really good character.
Yeah.
It's funny. In that same movie was that the one where they also had? Yeah, no, that's the same movie where they had Galvatron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's just a bunch of Rubik's Cube that fucking, flies into the air and forms a robot.
yeah. The fucking script is so stupid when there was that director guy that was leading the company that was designing Galvatron. He was just like, why the fuck does it look like Megatron? And then as the audience, you're just thinking, well, maybe it's because you're using Megatron's fucking head. That's probably why
It doesn't
looks
even
like
look like
Megatron.
Megatron. the fucking, it's like, it's so weird.
We wanted to look like Optimus or some shit. Why does it look like Megatron? Well, it might be. Perhaps you're using Megatron's fucking head as a base plate.
Let's bring this back to Japanese culture. Let's bring up some shows that are worth watching, and that may or may not invoke the same kind of entertainment value out of like the Transformers, but something that we enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about like dramas and shit, right?
Dramas and movies.
Okay.
47 Ronin.
So the thing is, I actually haven't seen that many Japanese movies.
Me neither.
Like, to be
So-
fair, haven't recently gone like, okay, I just think I'm gonna just put it this way. I don't think a lot of Japanese movies are great to begin with. So like it's kind of hard for me to like bring up good movies, but I think a lot of good movies stem out from being originally a manga or a novel, and
Adaptations.
adaptation of, and the writer knew what they were doing with the source they had. So on one hand, you have a lot of like live action remakes of like Gintama
Okay,
and
okay.
Kingdom.
We're also making sure to not take into consideration anime movies, right?
Actually, I have
Let's
one,
just say that those, if they're standalone,
but
I
so
feel like,
I mean, okay,
the movie
how
version
about
of Full
like
Metal
for example,
Alchemist or something.
Kizumonogatari, which is a prequel to the Monogatari
oh no.
series.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Then if that's the case, no.
Yeah, okay, good.
But
I mean,
like,
I haven't watched it though, so I can't even recommend
I mean,
it.
Yeah.
the idea is that we're talking about movies that are
It doesn't
adaptations
directly-
of a series, not a direct follow-up prequel.
Yeah.
They don't, or ones that don't directly tie in with the original material.
yeah. So it's nothing like that where it has another
Just a
storyline
loose-
after that.
Yeah,
We're
It-
not even thinking that hard. It's just like, hey, here's some fun things.
yeah.
But so I guess we're starting off with some movies. Then let me start off with books and comic adaptation then, because I have 3 of those. One of them being
Okay.
20th Century Boys, which is a
Dun-dun-dun.
great fucking movie. Like the trilogy does it, while it actually departs a little bit from the original comics or the mangas. The movie itself stands as its own, like really good. Maybe it's just the
Even now.
nostalgia that I have in it. I don't know, but
No,
like
no. It's me too. I agree.
it is one of the greatest Japanese movies that it was ever created. Like it does so, the visuals are, for the time being, I think rewatching it, some CGI might not hold up, but like what I'm talking about is like the settings and stuff where it kind
The
of takes
world
the world.
feels real.
Yeah, it goes back and forth in time. It jumps in time, and like hallucination and shit happens too. But like the way they do it, like when they go back in time, the world feels completely like as a Showa era Japan, and
Yeah.
just everything about it just felt great. Like when I first watched it, I had nightmares about it, but it still didn't stop me
yeah.
from like rewatching it so many times.
Let's give a short synopsis.
Short synopsis. That's gonna be kind of hard.
Yeah, no spoilers. This is the hard part. 'cause
So, couple of guys in the the first movie or the first part of the book takes place before 2000, like in the 1990s.
in Showa,
Does it? Was that Showa?
they're Showa kids, right?
No, I'm talking about like when they're
Oh,
the
like the
first. I
first-
guess like in the movie wise, the first movie.
Right.
I forgot.
That's like early 2000s,
I
maybe
guess.
90s.
So like yeah, a bunch of grown-up people get together. They were friends when they were young. They were childhood friends, and then they get together to like I guess save the world in a sense, because there was this one kid that was always bullied in like their
Well, okay,
school.
so
It's so
it's a
hard to
mystery.
explain.
the
Yeah.
first part is a mystery about finding out who was the kid, if he was even there, and because they've grown up, they don't remember exactly, who like. Oh, remember this?
So
No,
in,
that- I didn't
in a
listen to
way,
it.
it's kind of like a game of what do you call it? The murder,
Yeah.
where no one's really sure who's who. Like people's sure that this guy's this, but like they're not entirely sure.
They're not even sure
Yeah,
if they were friends with him.
and then a mass genocide happens.
Oh my god.
Well, and that's also a mystery as to why it's happening. It's
So this whole story,
spoiling.
like in the story, I guess in the future part of the story, how the events turn out is kind of based off of like a drawing one of them did when they were small.
prophecy.
Yeah, so it's like who I guess the main character drew it though. Kenji? Was it him?
Kenji is like the center
Yeah.
of the cult.
So
Not cult, but like
He-
the
the
friend
group.
group.
so he drew, when you're small, you're like, oh, yeah, this is how world's gonna end. He drew those kind of pictures, but then someone's actually trying to recreate what's going on in this picture, and that's kind of like the whole premise of the story. And so, but the problem is that dude, I haven't watched it in a while, so I'm not like actually entirely sure either. But if I remember correctly, only the people around him should have known about those pictures that existed in the first place, kind of deal. So it's like, they have to figure out who's doing it, and then the story goes on.
Well, not a traitor among us, but like the culprit is the person who's causing this is one of us.
Yeah, and then in the future, and then like time goes on after the first movie, there's a whole cult following behind him, and he kind of becomes like the king of Japan and shit, and like and then it's a whole story of how do we unfuck this, and stop this guy from doing anything worse to Japan.
It's just amazing in scope and scale and story.
Yeah.
But it's done well. And you know what? That's a hard recommend. If you
It's like, I probably did not do justice describing the fucking story, but you have to watch that movie. Like, out of everything I'm recommending right now, I'm telling you right now, watch this, please. It's a trilogy of a movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Next one being Umizaru. It's a story about sea rescue people. So like a good word for that.
Marine operators.
Yeah, they go into like half burning oil rigs and help people out of it and shit like that. So it's kind of like I guess movies like 2012 and Japan sinks and stuff, but it's like, because it's following a single character throughout several movies, I think it does a pretty good job of character building and people around him. So it's a span of several movies, but it's also based off of like a 12-book series of manga, which I actually did not know about until like 5 years ago, 10 years, 7 years ago maybe. But
you don't really need to know anything either.
Yeah,
just watch them.
Movie is kind of like a natural thriller kind of thing, man versus nature, man versus ocean. If you have phobia, if you're scared of ocean, it might be kind of hard to watch, but
oh yeah, even without it, claustrophobia.
Yeah, there's a lot of like human drama in between people just trying to save, and like say there's a rich guy and a pregnant woman on the same boat. Who do you take first? And the rich guy's all being a bitch and something like that.
But we have to save him too because he's a human life. And then like the buddy, he slips and falls and hits his head, so they gotta save him.
Yeah, there's a lot of like just a lot of problem solving, and it's kind of satisfying to see how it ends.
Yeah, it's also very well shot, well directed.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for Japanese, like a Japanese movie, not fictional, like something set in real Japan, Umizaru's nice.
It is fictional in a sense, but it's a grounded reality where nothing supernatural happens, basically.
Exactly.
And the next movie I'm introducing is what do you call it? A Confession After 22 Years. It's actually a Korean novel, I think, that was made into a Japanese movie. I think there's also a Korean version of this movie too. Funny thing though, the main lead is done by the same person that did Umizaru. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
So, I just noticed that too. But it's about, a guy that comes out from 22 years of hiding after he murders someone, and the main police we're following is like had one of his family member killed by that dude, and it's like a whole cat and mouse thing where it's like, can we still get him arrested and whatnot? But I think for me personally, after I watched it, it kind of had a Dark Knight vibe. So if you enjoyed Dark Knight, which I think a lot of people did, you'll probably enjoy this one too. It's like a good thriller. There's a lot of twists in the middle. So, one that I really did not see coming, even though I think I should have. But yeah, there's a lot of good twists and good storytelling.
I definitely want to watch it now.
I like
22 years?
Yeah, at first I really didn't have that much interest in it either. Like, I thought it was gonna be one of those just Japanese movie where like, oh yeah, humanity, society bad. But it was way more than that. It was actually fun watching it. Now the next two is a little bit more into pop culture, subculture genre. One of them is Shin Godzilla, good movie. If you like Evangelion, it's done by the same director.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun, natural thing. Like, it's not your typical Godzilla movie, but it definitely tunes in more with the human side of the story rather than Godzilla destroying the city. But Godzilla destroying the city is still very satisfying to watch, and it's just a fun movie. But it's
If I
probably
can chime in.
yeah.
Yeah, so Hollywood and Japanese Godzilla are two separate entities now, and this is one from Japan. And like, if you want kaiju, then it still has kaiju, but the perspective is more Japan based. It's Eastern,
Yeah.
so
Say
good for that.
like Godzilla King of the Monster was, Godzilla the good guy versus King Ghidorah the bad guy, which I like that movie because it's your big monsters breaking shit. Who doesn't like that?
Mm-hmm.
But Shin Godzilla was how Japan will stand against a natural disaster kind of movie. But that
In a
natural
grim
disaster
reality.
being Godzilla, so it's like a whole new thing they have never experienced before. It's
Right.
like it does. It's kind of like also like a jab on Japanese politics. So in that sense, it's also kind of interesting to watch in that kind of regards.
Yeah, when we go to Japan, we should watch it together. I
Sure.
haven't seen it,
Oh,
but
really?
I want to watch it.
It's like I've watched it like maybe more than 20 times.
I need to see it.
Last one is Summer Wars. I think everyone knows that.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
just
Summer Wars is iconic.
it's anime, but good anime. It's like
Yeah.
I think if you enjoyed one of the newer Shinkai Makoto's his stuff, you'll probably enjoy Summer Wars too.
As a synopsis, boy follows upperclassman to her countryside family.
That does not
due to family reasons.
follows.
Follows.
Yeah, shit.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
I think it had something to do with what was it, like
Well,
marriage?
engagement. She
Yeah,
wants to.
she didn't
pretend
want
that
to.
Her boyfriend was elite.
So yeah, basically she didn't want to go to like a omiai kind of thing. I think. Or was it like that?
Betrothment.
Yeah. So she had to fake a boyfriend, and then the main protagonist gets randomly chosen, I guess.
And then he turns out to be way more manly than he appeared.
Yes. He's also really smart.
Yeah, it's a good coming of age story.
If you like
story.
good family motivation, it also has a little bit of a game kind of side story to it. So it's kind
Virtual
of
reality.
it's really fun to watch. So it's not, even though it's not like a supernatural superpower kind of anime, it still has that kind of it does a good job of putting it into reality and grounding it as a movie and how it works kind of deal, I guess. Damn, I am bad at explaining shit though.
That's just normal.
Big unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of the 5 I said, 20th Century Boys is a definite watch. I would recommend watching that. It's just so good. Yeah.
I agree.
Anything else you want to chime in?
Well, I have a couple of drama series that I love.
Yeah.
But there's just so many good stuff, so I'm just gonna group them into police stories, and then just one big compilation of police stories. First is Boss. Boss is a TV drama series about main lead female police inspector who went to America to study profiling, and she and her misfit band of idiots have to face a new era of crime. Yeah, they're oh yeah, it's not what's his name? Yokomizu. A very famous Japanese actor plays this older bald guy who's easily fooled. He's a gullible idiot,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes he pulls his weight. Kendo Kobayashi is a Japanese comedian who plays a gay policeman
Dude,
who abuses laws and stuff.
it's kind of put it out there. Kendo Kobayashi plays as a character in Premiere, and I was like, what the fuck? I did not realize that.
really?
Yeah.
I need to watch that then. Yeah, he has a gruff voice, and he does a lot of voice acting.
Yeah, he's
as,
surprisingly in
celebrity
a lot of
appearance.
Japanese anime movies, and I'm not talking about like Koi no Katachi and that kind of stuff. He's like in a lot of like Anpanman Pokemon kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's
The
also known to be
annual-
like a real pervert, so I'm like surprised he's actually allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's dicey. Japan. We'll talk about this another time, but Japanese comedians have this special celebrity hold, and it's difficult to explain, but he's one up there, and his appearance is fun in Boss.
Mm.
There's a lot to it that I would like to go to, but just in general, if you can watch it, check it out. Next one is a super minor, like, cult. Not even a cult. It's like just one of those things that just nobody knows about. But Mamachari Deka.
I think I've
Is,
heard about it before.
Okay, maybe it might be a little bigger, but it's like from the 90s, where this wannabe detective mom, who's very nosy, is friends with a policewoman, and their kids are the same age, so they hang out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And she just gets involved with crimes and solve them when nobody fucking asked her. And it's just like a combination of hilarity, like, it's a sitcom. It's a sitcom, but with police involved. And in the same vein, Jiko Keisatsu. It's hard to explain, but in Japan there's this, what is Jiko? Jiko
It's
is
like,
like
you know, after a certain time passed that you've done a crime, they just kind of, you're kind of let go of it. Like, that's the whole premise of
it's
the
like
20.
annulation of a crime.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole premise of the 22 years of fuck.
Yeah.
You know.
If you get away with murder, or if you want to get away with murder, just wait 22 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Japan
Which is
recently got rid of
still
that law.
Yeah, it was. I'm like, why was it even in place to begin with, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things where they can't really put in too much effort into something that's 22 years old. But you know, if you
Exactly.
catch someone later down the line, you still caught him. So.
Yeah. So this policeman goes around solving crimes that were unsolved, and this is one of those comedy pieces where things are going on in the background that are absurd or like purposefully misleading, and you can watch it 7 or 8 times and notice something funny each time, like, hey, wait a second, that driver's picking his nose, or that politician, he's wearing lingerie, and stuff like that. On top of it just being funny, like, it's a lot of ad-lib humor. It's improv between the main staging scenes, and it's one of those things that's like closer to Japanese like subculture where you have to have context to understand a lot of it, but in that sense it's great to learn from it. And another one I like is Trick.
Oh yeah, I've actually not. I've been wanting to watch that for a while, but I've heard it's really
Right.
good.
So there's Trick is there's 2 things. There's the movie series that has like 5 total, and then there's like a drama series that went on for like 2 seasons, I think, or like somewhere in the ballpark of 24 episodes.
If you live in Japan,
And-
I'm pretty sure it's all Trick is on Amazon Prime.
At
So-
the moment, they're in a Trick festival where they're like re-airing older stuff.
Oh really?
Apparently, I
Didn't
don't know
know that.
why, but yeah.
I mean, that reason why is because they probably just don't have enough like thing to fill in the TV slots right now because of the whole virus.
Yeah. But it's also still a good watch. So, the premise is a magician girl and professor at a university are tasked and sometimes exploited to uncover frauds, psychic and esper frauds, and people who like are of the occult, basically. And using her ability, like her knowledge of the supernatural, she proves that these guys are actual like murderers or, you know, criminals. And this is also as like Jiko Keisatsu, where they have a lot of like stuff going on in the background. Like it's primarily a comedy in some things. And the stakes get high, but never too high. Like the world of the balance is never in fade. It's more like, will they make it out alive? Sort of like suspense horror, but comedy. So
Japan just has a lot of buddy cop comedy thing going on.
Yeah, it's very buddy cop. Definitely check out Trick.
And one of the most famous one being Aibo, which I watch every single episode of. There's like what 18 seasons, 12 episodes mostly each.
Yeah, me and Akira decided that we like this one is just too core drama as a drama series to not cover.
It's not as comedy centric as other ones. It's definitely more just crime solving, but it never. One thing I've like about Aibo is that I think a lot of Japanese buddy cop, they try to be the new Sherlock Holmes. They even call it Sherlock Holmes. Like one of the
literally parody Sherlock Holmes.
One of the newer ones that came out is called Sherlock Untold Stories, which I actually did really enjoy.
Is literally the British one.
No, it's
retold though, right?
Is it? I'm not entirely sure, but
yeah, I think the new one, because there was another Sherlock before that in Japan.
So yeah,
adaptation.
Most of them was like we're gonna try to tie in the main character being like a Sherlock Holmes kind of thing, and Aibo's main character is definitely a Sherlock Holmes type person, but they never in the whole entire premise of this the drama that in the 18 seasons or so they never say that, but it's definitely because the main character is not really a normal person. Like he's definitely kind of like a social outcast dude.
He's an intellectual to an extreme degree. Yeah.
So in a sense that I think it does a better job at capturing what Sherlock Holmes is, more than any one of these other like Sherlock Holmes wannabe dramas in Japan.
So Sherlock Holmes has the fatal flaw that Watson, the supporter, is always a brawn character. He's like a war vet or some kind of like idiot muscle cop who wants to do good but like not always smart.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Aibo, it varies from case to case. Like the first Kameyama Toru was kind of like a normal brawny character.
And he was more of a physical character.
Yeah.
And then
the second one was more dainty and smart, and who like bounced off of Kanbe Takeru. That's his name. I can't remember. Ukyo-san. Ukyo is the Sherlock
character.
Holmes guy. Yeah, and together they would set traps or like predict each other.
Yeah. They like bounce off of each other's intelligence, but they weren't like the best partners. That they were always clashing, so that actually kind of made it interesting. Because I think after that, the partner was always kind of like, yeah, this guy's weird, but we just kind of deal with it. But in his case,
too, though. So
the next one was a lot more younger.
Yeah.
He quit being an actor, so he hasn't made a return in a while. But
I thought he got sick from like lung cancer.
No, he what happened was he was accused of, I think, having possession of drugs, but he didn't.
Oh.
But then that kind of pressured him to just kind of quitting being an actor.
Presence.
Yeah, overall. So
the way they ended his character was also really bad.
Yeah,
that season was kind of sad. But
so plot twist, he was a bad guy. That's how it ended.
Plot twist, he actually murdered people, and it's like
he was behind a lot of these things that was going on in his 3 seasons. This is the third guy.
Being guilty of something, but like, please don't make him a murderer. That hurts. Oh.
The fourth partner,
running partner.
Yeah, is I think one of the better partners in a way because he's more of a veteran in like just a story point wise. Like he's always been in this world, and he's been in a different. He wasn't a policeman, but he was in the kind of a general law people. Enforcement person. And
he has his own connections that makes things interesting.
So like, while Ukyo is like doing his own shit, he'll go and get his connections and like he'll use his charisma and get different kind of he's more charismatic than a lot of other older Aibo. So like so one of the trope is that he'll, get like a woman to like him and then, get some information out of it. But
womanizing, but in a smart way.
Yeah. So it works with his character though.
if 20th Century Boy is the one Japanese movie you should see, Aibo is probably number one Japanese drama you should check
There's
out.
a lot of episodes. So, I mean, because they're not like an overarching episode, you could probably just like pick a random one, watch it, pick a random one, watch it, or pick a random
They're all
season and watch
standalone.
that season, and then like move forward from that. But it's kind of like
Plus, they have specials.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to like be like, oh, you have to start from beginning to end kind of deal. So
Mhm.
see, I think it's easier to pick it up.
Yeah. That reminds me, though, with the buddy cop Sherlock Holmes things, that reminds me of Galileo.
Oh, well, I haven't
Do
watched
you
it before.
remember? Ah.
It's the one with
Galileo is
Fukuyama,
Masaharu.
yeah.
Which is a Japanese singer idol guy. He's like in his late 50s,
I
right?
think he is in his 50s.
Yeah, he's also kind of like not pervert, but like he's on like the edge of like risque humor and adult stuff.
I think he did
in
a live where it was guys only, but they were all wearing underwears or something like
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
His public image is that of a serious man, but also being kind of a funny old guy.
his songs are great though.
Yes. Even now, there's very few songs that he makes that fail. Not even fail, just like he just makes good song.
Yeah.
But in Galileo, he plays the antisocial physicist at a Japanese university who helps solve crimes that are unable to be solved with science, or that fall under like the occult or like supernatural. But he's like that. そんなのありえない. That's impossible.
I think
and
it's-
solves it with logic and facts.
If you enjoy Conan, you probably enjoy Galileo. From what I've
Yeah.
seen, it sounds like it like a lot of the tricks, or from like what I know of it, even though I haven't really watched it before, a lot of tricks like are like over the top.
Yeah.
So like
And in the sense that it's Sherlock Holmes, he treats his partner horribly, which makes it more Sherlock Holmes than other Sherlock Holmes adaptations.
I think he treats his partner pretty bad sometimes too, but
Sometimes. But Galileo, he actually just hates her
yeah.
because she brings in annoying things. So like my favorite one trick was like the super magnet conductor, where to strike a yacht 12 miles out at sea, they use extreme superconductor magnets to use the law of conservation to launch a piece of metal. And even like it's so fucking grandiose that if you were to hear that crime like out of context, you just think that that's a stupid idea, but Galileo sells it to you well.
Yep.
Yeah. If you like Conan, if you like Sherlock Holmes, if you like detective stories, which is my obvious like bias towards these things, check out Galileo. And now for a non-cop one, Legal High. Have you seen Legal High?
No, but I don't know. I realized all the things I've written down was like cop stuff. I was like, oh wait, yeah, there are non-cop dramas in Japan. Hmm.
Yeah, it's they do so well though, cause like I don't know, I don't want to gush about
I
police
think
drama, but it's
talking
fun.
about like non-cop dramas, and I think Rookies is a really good one. Although I haven't,
Rookies.
I forgot, like I haven't watched it in a while, but it's about like
I'll definitely check that one out.
it's about high school baseball teams in Japan.
Japan takes its baseball very seriously.
Yeah. Like super seriously. But it's a pretty fun story. It's about a bunch of
Yeah.
like loser kids that's like fuck baseball, and then the
Fuck
main
school.
teacher was like, you know what, you guys start playing baseball, and one by one they kind of like, like start to like baseball, and kind of like that kind of deal.
It's reformation through sportsmanship.
It was originally a manga, so
Yeah. Check that out if you can't watch it and you want to localize something. So, back to Legal High. Legal High is about lawyers battling out their extremely large egos and personalities in the courtroom. And I'm currently rewatching it with my mom. It is hilarious, even if it doesn't date. It just is always funny. So this asshole Komikado Kensuke has 0 losses in the courtroom. Basically, a prodigy genius in law, and his case is if you let me defend you, you will win. And he's also a shit human.
I'm just gonna stop you right there. Like going back to like the anime tropes and shit. That is one of the biggest tropes in like any cop drama in Japan, though. A lawyer that never lost before. There's so many of them. It's like holy shit. How many lawyers are in this story that never lost a case? What is this world?
If you've never defended anyone, you can't lose.
Oh yeah, go on.
So, that's not a this is very manga chick. Going off of what Akira said, if it were a manga, I'd buy it twice.
Oh my!
It's that good.
Once to preserve and another to read.
Yeah, no, one to distribute and spread the faith, because Komikado Kensuke is like, it's iconic how funny he is. He's perverted. He's also selfish. He admits that he's like a sinful. He basically works on greed. If you write him a check.
Wait, is he the main character?
He's the protagonist.
Oh wow, okay. So the protagonist is an asshole.
The protagonist is a big douche.
Oh.
And he works with the protagonist girl. So it's like a duality part. Like they clash against each other, but she's like the star-eyed Asadora no heroine. So the main girl in a midday drama, which basically is like housewife show where the girl is pure
soap opera.
And nice.
Kind
soap
of.
opera,
Not really.
yes.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know what soap opera actually is.
It's close like that though. Like the idea is that she's like the naive girl.
Isn't
who
soap
thinks the
opera
world is good.
not really that more of a gritty reality where everyone kind of hates each other? I had that kind of. Oh well. Anyways, go on.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know the classification, but anyway, she's very not dumb, but like she wants to do good is the thing. She has a strong sense of justice, so whenever she sees Komikado going off, like let's just lie about this part and then just go with it. And it's like, but that's lying. Yeah, it'll win the case. And it's, on one hand, you get to learn very little about the legal system. It's not about that. But you will learn some things. And at the same time, you just get to watch funny people be funny.
It's not like a serious case of, this is how Japanese law enforcement is. It's just, using that setting as a comedy.
Yeah.
So
actually, though, they do make some like biting humor about Japanese society.
I mean, yeah, they're probably making on it especially because it's kind of like that setting where
because it's absurd law.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this kid wants to sue his mom or her mom because she's a child actor, and it's basically abuse. But you're drinking as a minor. Isn't that your fault? It's like, that I didn't frame it well, but that story has like a really good moral point he makes, even though he's trashy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess
I have one more. In the medical, there's a lot of medical dramas like Dr. X and stuff.
Yeah.
But for that, my recommendation is Bachista. Bachista shujutsu is like it's a medical procedure for people whose hearts have abnormally large. So the whole story is following a number of cases where the patient dies in procedure, and they're trying to find out whether there's wrongdoing in practice, like if there's a medical mishappening, and they're trying to like legally defend it as well as investigate it. And it turns out it's a murder story, but they're not policemen. They're
so like I guess it's the using body, what do you call it?
Autopsies.
Yeah, autopsies to like solve crimes, I guess.
As well as like so the protagonist is again like a snarky know-it-all, super genius, and then a naive, like do-gooder, doctor. He also shows up in Umizaru.
It kind of sounds like a hospitalized Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, so a lot of drama just follows the trope of trying to be a Sherlock Holmes in Japan. Like you just have your main kind of like douchey character, and then you have your other kind of naive,
the good guy
that's supporting the main character and like wiping his ass basically.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that, but I think it works. It doesn't. It's not like it's not super boring. Like it doesn't feel like you're always watching the same thing over and over again. So.
Yeah, the Batista series has like a spin-off called General Rouge, which I think I watched and liked more than Batista because it's a focus on he like a veteran. He's like an ER medic who saved 100 lives in one night over like a tunnel bombing or something, like a tunnel collapse, and he's like would not stop for days on end. So it's like that heroic nationalistic. This guy's like a warrior, but it's in the medical field.
Yeah.
So, check Batista. The name is just fucking cool.
I think we talked so much so poor Donovan that probably does not remember what we talked about.
I'm almost lost now.
but for now, I guess, was there like anything you found interesting that you might want to check it out? Maybe not like actually watch it, but you just kind of found like this would sound fun. Kind of deal.
They all sound like interesting shows that if I stumble upon them, that I might watch. But it's just like nowadays, it's hard for me personally. It's hard to say if I'm gonna watch any shows just because of how distracted I get.
Yeah.
For me, it's hard to. It really is hard now to sit back and just watch something happen on screen. For me, I'm always like strapped to either talking to someone or playing a game of some sort because I'm quote, air quote, actively doing something. So.
Yeah. If you had to pick though.
If I had to pick.
I guess for movies we went over like 20th Century Boys, Shin Godzilla, Mizaru, Summer Wars. 22 years.
Yeah, I think I could consider 20th Century Boys.
Yeah. It's honestly a masterpiece. Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
It still is. But it's on its, like, own story. Like, it doesn't really... I don't think... It doesn't feel like it follows a lot of tropes. So, like...
Yeah.
It's a good
so it starts off with a
mystery.
pandemic, too.
Yeah.
And that was, like, right around when the Ebola pandemic was around. So...
Was it?
From the premise. Yeah. They actually mentioned it's like a new strain of Ebola,
Really?
but bioengineered to be more lethal. And it's not a spoiler. So the virus basically makes you spray blood from every vein.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Some of the sceneries are pretty, grotesque,
graphic.
But
so like it opens with a scene of a dead body in like the room is covered and drenched in blood, and it's a fast working disease. It's like you if you catch it, maybe
pretty much 100% death rate.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's like it's terrorizing the nation, and everyone's like, wasn't that part of like our childhood story where blood sprays out everywhere? Oh yeah, we wrote a fucking freaky story when we were kids.
Oh my god.
Hold up. This scenario feels familiar. Is how it starts.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah, definitely would recommend that.
Yeah, that sounds something I could definitely... Yeah, that sounds something grotesque, which is why I would watch it, kind of deal.
Oh yeah, the effects from movie 1.
Plus, like, I guess blood spraying out is coming from you liking Okita. I'm gonna assume.
Oh my god. Yeah, yes, clearly. I just love it when I watch people die.
Go back to Donovan's waifu number 1.
Yep.
Fucking dies. Yeah. Well, yes.
That sounds like a
good wrap.
Yeah.
So these have been your hosts. I'm David.
And I'm Akira.
And I'm Donovan.
And tune in next time. 次回に続く.
Yeet.